Hello everybody and welcome back to another YouTube video, and today in this YouTube video I am building a Minecraft calculator. You might have noticed by the title this is only part 1 because I only have 2 digits working on the calculator right now and really nothing else. So these 2 digits are working, which is great. As I could display here, this is my number system. Starts at 1, goes to 9, and then 0. That replaces the digit on the screen with a 0. So let's say I want it to be 71. So I go here, that's 8, 7, so I click this button. Then it will write it to the memory, which you can see it doing right there. And then output it to the screen as a 7. And then, say I want a 1, I click here. Then it'll do the same thing to make 71. Now, you might also be wondering, that's really slow. Do you have to wait for those screens to turn on every time? No, you can actually put buttons in before the screen updates, but if you go too fast, it'll mess up this memory here and in fact not work. So you might be wondering, well, how does this memory work in the first place? Well, actually it's a whole ton of blocks. I have an example here. So, if you have power coming into the back, like from the button press, it will permanently power on this torch in the front, which makes it sort of like a memory. It actually makes it exactly like a memory. But the second you apply redstone to the side, it wipes that torch and then turns this one on. It's a very simple on and off switch, practically, that you can control with redstone. And this is the smallest iteration I find that will work in this version. So, this redstone is actually the same way as that worked down there. This, as you can see, is storing a 1, which is the top one and none of the bottom ones lit. So, I'll display on the screen, it's a 1, 0, 0, 0. Which is equal to 7. 7. Why did I say 7? Which is equal to 1. Now over here, we have a 7, which is actually equal to 7. So it's a 1, 1, 1, 0, which, if orientated correctly, will equal 7. Now you might be wondering, well, how do we update the screen scrolling sideways? The update of the screens takes this memory and moves it forward 1. So I'll advance it to show you what I mean. So this is basically typing in a 0. This will advance this 1 spot forward and then not write anything to that one. So how this works is easy. It starts at the end and then erases it because while you're advancing, you're overwriting the thing at the end. Going into this, which is an AND gate, which basically says, hey, if these torches and these torches are off, then make it on. Which to turn these torches off, it has to have power coming from both those areas. Which means basically, whenever it's updating, it powers all these torches off, and then whichever ones are already powered off, advance to the next one. So basically using that, you can have this erase, then advance this one to the next one, and then have this one erase, advance that one to that one, have this erase, and advance that one to that one, and then take your digits from over here, which is why it has such a long delay, and input it into here. Which then, once it's inputted to there, will go onto the screen. Now the screen has no mathematical calculations going on. It is literally just displaying the numbers. All the math is going to go on over here. Over here is just going to be for the artsy display. Right now it's using the exact same system as over there, which is why it's so slow. It decodes this into 10 digits, which you notice there are 10 bars across here. And then outputs it into 7, which these are 7 segment displays. So it outputs it to directly what the display would need. As you can see, I've labeled these bottom right, bottom middle, bottom left, middle, top left, top right, and top middle. Now, once it's outputted, it's put into something that might look very familiar from the top down. That's right, it's the exact same memory system as over there, just 7 instead of 4. So on this over here, it will display. It basically just saves the memory for the display so that you only have to have one decoder and one of those over there putting it into the decoder. So that's practically all I've done so far, and I am only planning on doing addition and subtraction because multiplication and division sounds really, really hard. Now, over here, what my plan for having it add is you multiply that by 1, that by 10, that by 100, and that by 1,000. Then add them all together to get that one number that's displaying on the screen. And then, simply you do that with the bottom number, and then add them together, which then will equal this number down here. Pretty simple, if you don't overthink it, and very, very possible. But right now I only have 2 digits displaying, which is kind of sad. I'm going to continue working on it and try to make all the digits display. But for right now I only have a maximum of, I think, 99. Let's see. Can I type 99? That's a 9. And then here's another 9. Let's see. 9. Any day now. 9. 9. See? 99. So that is the biggest number that you could type so far on this calculator, which is quite a lot, but not enough for me to be impressed with it. Which is why I'm making this a multiple episode series of, well, me making this calculator. Because I think it'll be fun, and honestly I've only seen 2 other people on YouTube build a calculator in Legacy Edition. Most of the other ones are using mods in Java Edition. And in the next episode, I will probably go over what the differences between the editions are, like glass towers versus cobblestone towers. So you can see I'm forced to use cobblestone towers or torch towers, which I actually haven't used any torch towers because I haven't thought of it yet. Till just now. But thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please give me a like or something so I know I'm appreciated, and so that I can continue working on this without feeling like nobody cares. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you would mind, and it's completely free, to leave a nice little subscribe in that bottom right corner of my video. And as I zoom out away from this calculator and show off the mighty strength of the Xbox 360, I will see you all in the next episode.